biggest reading goals for 2024 was to get my entire physical TBR down to 0. So in this video, I want to go over some of the progress that I've made since I last updated you guys and let you know where our numbers are sitting, how many books do I have left now on my physical TBR. One major update is that I recently did a very large purge of my shelves. I did upload an unhaul video, so if you're interested in seeing those books that I decided to part with, I will go ahead and leave that video linked for you. I tried to get really honest with myself in this last unhaul and really go through some of those unread books and ask myself, like, do I actually still have interest in reading that book? I feel like there was a lot of things that I have been holding on to for years and years, and maybe like they had some sort of sentimental hold over me. I have been in the mood lately to declutter the house, kind of do some like fall cleaning. It was just recently Labor Day, so I had that Monday off work, and I spent like all weekend going through the house and just doing this like mad declutter. I've been feeling like I just want to like get rid of everything in my house and just start over. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, if you ever get in a mood where you just don't feel like, I guess, as settled as you would like, and maybe a fresh start or a change sounds really, really good to you. I've been trying to give myself this feeling of like leaving everything behind and starting over without actually leaving my life behind and starting over. So, progress with this reading challenge. Like I said, getting rid of a ton of books, that has helped bring my number down from my previous update. Now, I have been attempting to read some of the books on my shelf, but unfortunately I have been in kind of a really massive reading slump a lot of this year, and that's made it really hard. It's made it so that like I don't want to pick up the books on my shelf, but I want to just like read the most random stuff, like stuff from my library, and really like lean into mood reading and not having to stick to just the things that I own. But I am really wanting to get back into this challenge and start making good progress again. It is the beginning of September as I am filming this right now, and in August I did have a little chunk of progress. So I have this series of graphic novels right here, and it is the continuation of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer television show. This would be picking up right after the series finale, so this is technically season 8. I've owned these for quite a while, and I started reading these actually back in high school because I've loved Buffy for quite a while, loved the TV show. It's always brought me a ton of comfort, and I really look up to Buffy as a main character. So I ended up reading the remaining volumes over the course of August. That did end up giving me quite a good chunk of progress in this reading challenge because I had a total of 7 unread volumes here. Unfortunately, I did not end up enjoying this series as much as I had hoped and had thought that I would. I still love volume 1. It's very sentimental to me, so I feel like I always will love and prize this individual volume. But the remaining ones, I feel like kind of like started to decline in quality. I feel like where they went with it was kind of confusing, kind of convoluted. Like the last 2 volumes in particular, there were characters that were resurrected towards the end of this that it just felt like it was totally out of nowhere. Like it felt so convenient to me, and I feel like it wasn't really explained, like how did they come back to life. There was also a romance that ends up happening between 2 characters that I feel like was so weird. Like I don't know how many of you guys are interested in Buffy, I don't want to spoil anything, but 2 characters that you would never imagine going together. I feel like we could have just left it out. I don't know, like not everybody needs to end up with somebody and have like a totally happy ending. I feel like these lost a lot of the magic along the way. Like even volume 2 and 3, I think I rated both of those 4 stars, and then as it went, it progressively got lower and lower. So there was 3s, and then at the very end it was the 2. It just, by the end of it, it became very, very tedious when I was reading them. I just wanted it to be over. And so I don't know, I'm glad that they are read. They are now being checked off and it's progress being made in this challenge, but as a reading experience, I can't say that I had a great time, and I can't say that I would really recommend them beyond like that first volume, which, like I said, I really love this. I just think that I will love and appreciate Buffy as a television show, and I won't go any deeper into like the universe of the graphic novels. Or I know there's also Buffy, like, oh, there's different Buffy books out there too. I know there's some more recently published ones. I kind of think I'll just leave it at the TV show. I don't need to go beyond that. I have actually started rewatching the television show, which has been really nice, very comforting, and that has brought me a lot of joy. So that's a plus. I have started 2 novels, but I haven't finished them. So I started Edenville by Sam Rebline, and then also My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I've started both of these. I'm about 20% into this one, and I'm listening to the audio, and I feel almost like I need to restart it, which is not a good sign. Because I've been in this like reading slump mindset, I kind of feel like if I need to restart it, I would almost rather just DNF it. I really do not want to DNF this copy though, because it is both signed and personalized. Last year I went to a book signing with this author and got to meet them and get this book signed with my name, which was really cool. I've actually never been to a book signing. Like this was the first time I ever got to meet an author and have them sign my copy. So that was a cool experience. If I had borrowed this from the library and had this experience, I probably would end up DNFing it. I might end up giving it like one more good chance, and I might end up restarting the audiobook, and because I've started a lot of other books in the meantime. Yeah. There's some progress in this, but not a ton. And then I started reading My Lovely Wife. I've only gotten to maybe like the first 10% of the book. Like I'm not far at all. I was enjoying it, but unfortunately with the reading slump, I ended up putting it down and not having a ton of motivation to pick it back up again. But I'm not DNFing it. I'm not giving up on it. I do really enjoy Samantha Downing as an author. Like I really love some of the other books I've read from her. I like her writing style, and I've heard like the best things about My Lovely Wife of all of her books. This is the one that I think has the most hype, so I don't want to give up on it. I will keep trying to read that one. Now, as far as new books that I have brought into my collection, we did end up going to a library book sale a couple months ago, and I ended up bringing home 2 new books. Past those 2 new ones though, we haven't gone to any of the next library book sales because I really do not want to add more work onto myself, because I want to make good progress in this challenge. I want to complete this goal. So the 2 new books that I have brought into my collection from that last sale, the first one is called Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. This is a super short novella, and I don't really know a ton about it. I think it is a Western following librarians, something to do with the main characters are librarians, but I was pulled to it. I knew like enough about it to want to take it home with me, and it is a shorter book. So I have hope that I will get to that one at some point this year. And the next one is the complete opposite because it's super long, and that is The Child Thief by Brom. Like compared to this little baby of a book, this guy is like a massive textbook. So that is a little bit intimidating to me, especially being in a reading slump. But this is something that I had been wanting to read. It was on my digital TBR, so when I found it there, I had to take it home with me. And then also I forgot that I did end up finishing 2 books off of my physical TBR. A few months ago, I read both Rouge and Black Sheep. And I read these for the Battle of the Booktubers challenge that I took part in, and I have a whole video where I speak about both of these books. So that was a little bit more progress. I did end up reading a couple of the books for my shelf, like in their entirety, so that makes me feel good. I did put up a poll on my community tab asking you guys to help me choose between 2 different TBR carts that I was set on getting. I have not ordered yet either of them because I have been in this place where I've been like decluttering and reorganizing organizing so much. I'm trying to not buy things right now, not bring new things in. So I did end up putting all those books that I had planned to buy that TBR cart for into this little basket that I collected at Goodwill quite a while ago. Although I did stop counting these within the challenge, I have been reading quite a few of them, and what I have been doing is reading these books before bed with my husband and reading them aloud. So like this book right here we read together called 𝚆𝙃𝚃𝙷, and I even ended up putting some sticky tabs in this one. If you guys have ever heard of this like children's mystery horror series called 𝚆𝙃𝚃𝙷, let me know. I'd be interested to know if you guys read this when you were kids. I just bought this at a Goodwill because I love the 90s vibes with this cover, and it reminded me a lot of the show Are You Afraid of the Dark, which I love. Another one of these that I recently read was one of the American Chillers books, and that was Minnesota Mall Mannequins. This book I did not end up loving. I think on Goodreads I only ended up rating it a 2-star, and I go very easy on like children's and middle grade books. I had a good time reading this book with my husband, where he would read me a couple chapters, I would read him a couple over the course of about like a week and a half. The story ended up going like really off the rails, which can be fun sometimes. Like I can appreciate that. I feel like I can forgive a book for going off the rails and going a little bit wild, but it's hard for me to forgive something that like has a lot of plot holes or loose ends not really wrapped up, and that's what I feel like this one did. So I'm still interested to continue reading like more of the American Chillers books that I have. Now, as far as totals go, I will go ahead and pop some numbers up on the screen. When I started this challenge, I had 111 unread books on my shelf, and currently today we are sitting at a total of 26 unread books. I know that is like a huge jump, like seems like a lot of progress, but just keep in mind that I did have a ton of books that I have been unhauling over the course of this year. I still count it as progress though. I still count it as me like achieving this goal. I just would really love to get to the end of this goal, get to that point where every book that's on my shelf is something that I have read. And then what I am being very careful of is going forward, not getting to that point ever again where I have over 100 unread books. And I would just love to have all my books be things that I've read, love, would recommend, would want to reread. I probably won't have another update for you like within a month's time. I mean, if things go really well, I will. However, with this reading slump I've been talking about, I know like my motivation to pick up things from my shelf has been very low. So it might be a couple months before I update you guys again on my progress here. Probably won't see another unhaul though. I feel like I really whittled it down as much as I'm comfortable with, and what is left is what is left. And that is things that like I absolutely want to and have to read. So now with these 26 books that is left, this is like where the pressure starts kicking in, because I actually have to read them. I can't unhaul any more of them. I mean, I could, but I really don't want to. The kind of like parameters I set around this challenge was I wanted to complete it by the end of 2024. We are in September now, and I think it would be like a miracle if I completed it by December. I don't think it's gonna happen. If it ends up running longer, it's fine. I don't need to stick to like some tight arbitrary goal. Like I think it's good to have maybe a deadline or a time limit to help you hold yourself accountable, but if this challenge ends up running into 2025, it is what it is. I'm happy I made a ton of progress. So the number we're sitting at right now is 26 unread books. Hopefully I will have another update for you guys within a couple months time. I would love to know if you guys are also working on a similar challenge where you are trying to read more books from your own personal collection. Let me know if you are working on a similar goal, or if you even know how many books you have on your shelf that are unread. I think that is super interesting to look at that total. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.